Siege, should I say, sorry, the other Renault, did very well to avoid contact there. Yeah, he just a little bit too eager on that throttle, and but it is rear limited on the exit of that corner, so unfortunately it's taken himself and Lambo out. I do believe both cars have front wing damage as well, which is unfortunate. And obviously now Fletcher right on the back of Strew, going for a very late dive bomb into the hairpin, and Strew sees it coming and gives him space, but sorry, excuse me, it's a good job Strew did turn out of the corner, because he hadn't done then that would have been contact between those two as well.
Definitely so. We lost him. I had an error message from the point when that incident happened. You can see the damage on the Mercedes there of Lambo. He's got front wing damage. He's going to be in pit lane before long. Tell us what happened, Spike, because you've seen it. I was in the busy bit trying to get the broadcast back up.
Yeah, Recon was very close to back of Strew, obviously looking possibly for a move into the hairpin at turn 5, and I didn't see the initial slide, but it just looked like he lost the rear and couldn't bring it back. And I did say he had front wing damage, but I'm actually looking at his car and I can't actually see any particular damage at the moment, so perhaps he may have gotten away with this actually. So unfortunately that's left Lambo obviously with front wing damage, and he has left the session now. Whether that was him leaving the session or the game, he obviously got a bit of a connection issue, we don't know yet, but his car's pitted and put on a new front wing, and I do believe put on another set of soft tyres, committing him to a 2-stop.
Definitely so. He has left the session. We'll see if he comes back. Typical that something goes wrong. The broadcast, and I was trying to get it up and running, so unfortunately we didn't see that due to my own error issue. Really frustrating. What we did see there was Siege trying to get past Leroy in the Toro Rosso into turn number 1 and 2. The Toro Rosso able to hold on. That allowed Suarez the chance to just nip up the inside of both of them and make 2 places up through turn 3. Siege then got past Leroy through turn 3 and into turn number 4, so he did the move done, but Suarez jumped the 2 of them as they were squabbling, and that means the Haas now on those medium tyres as Struff finally pits from the super sauce and gets himself a 5-second stop and go for the insult. A Siege under DRS is going to make an absolute slam dunk of Suarez down the front straight. You can give him the Daily Mail to read, never mind the normal newspaper. That's plenty of time to get that move done, and that is him now up into second place. That makes him the highest medium tired runner in the race at the moment, as pit stop phase will start to come into effect properly in the next few laps. But Fletcher is your leader at the moment after all of that commotion and hassle that we unfortunately didn't see due to my own network error issue for a moment. He is in the lead now by 6.5 seconds from this battle between Siege, Suarez, Leroy and Recon. Takes you down to 5th place. Maze is next up in 6th, 3.5 seconds down. Then Plaster in 7th, he's about 3 seconds off the Renault. Badger in 8th, 2 seconds down. With Dynamic trying to catch up in 9th. Struff back on track after his pit stop on the mediums in 10th place. He's going to have to make those tyres go an awful long way. Alan Kane 11th. Charlie in 12th, he's been into the pits recently as well, and Lambo currently ghosting round, having left the session. Unsure if that's a connection issue or if he's left of his own accord, but his car's currently going round on the track at the moment as a ghost. If he doesn't gain control, he won't gain any points if he does finish there. Back to the battle though, between the 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th, and the Red Bull of Recon's got a great run on the Toro Rosso down the straight. You can see Suarez trying to line up Siege ahead as well. Terrible camera angles all round. Recon got the move done nearly into the back of the Haas, but unable to thankfully avoided it, and then flew nearly straight off the camera shot. Manages to hold it coming through 3 somehow, and that is him up into 4th place. Puts Recon Leroy down to 5th, Recon into 4th. Suarez still trying to see if he can make away on Siege, but Recon looks a lot faster at the moment. He is on that softer compound tyre, needs to make up as much time that he's lost as possible before his pit stop, because he will be pitting a lot earlier than these guys around him on the mediums. Lap 8 of 33 here at the Circuit de Catalunya for TTFL. Number season, it's Fletcher, your Australian Grand Prix on the moment, nearly 8 seconds clear of this battle we're looking on screen.
Absolutely, yeah. It's worked out extremely well for Fletcher now. He's actually even pulled a second on in the last lap, should I say? Sorry, on the soft tyres. So he's going great guns. Siege is probably, don't know, he's just not quite got the pace we're looking at. He's lose more time now, so there's over 8 seconds to go. Suarez hanging on gamely, and Recon obviously doesn't have damage from that incident where he lost the car through turn 4, so he's got away with that one. So he's still well within the fight of possibly looking for what I'd say P2. I think Fletcher has checked out. I think he's gone, and as long as he doesn't make any mistakes, it's his race to lose. And Recon obviously having that large spin, he's going to have quite a bit higher tyre wear. So anyone from lap 12 really with the soft, and you should be able to make the end quite comfortably on the mediums.
Maybe the ones.
Keep that microphone steady, mate. It's pretty choppy at the moment.
Take on the now. We'll see if we can fix it.
Alright, there you go. It's just come back literally if you just said that.
Ah, sweet. Well, that'll do it.
Oh, there it goes again. That's strange. Very strange. Okay, well, I'll take over from it just while Andy tries to get his microphone back on. So let's look a bit further down the top 10 here. We've got Nexus really close to the back of Badger. He's also close to the back of Plaster. So nice close battle here. Going through turn 9. Plaster. Nice and steady through there. Badger getting close to the DRS. Probably won't be looking into turn 10 as to not close enough. So no. Nexus done it nice and close as well. The back of the battle for P2. So he still has not been able to pull away from Suarez. So Suarez is still in that DRS. Loses the back end a little bit through the final chicane into the final corner. Recon right on the back. He's got, so Suarez has more battery left though, so he should be able to hold that position quite comfortably, especially with a bit of slipstream from Siege. Leroy just dropping off a little bit off the back. He's now over a second behind, so he's losing a bit of time. Mays all on his own in P6. So he's had a great race. I mean, how many positions has he made? He's made plenty of positions. He's made 9 positions so far in 10 laps. So he's doing a bit of a Max Verstappen here. Nice and steady in 6th. Plaster still holding on 7th. Badger is still 8th. Nexus is still 9th, right behind him. Oh, and then loses the car through turn 2 and hits the inside wall. Sorry, outside wall even, and breaks his front wing, unfortunately. So he'll be pitting for a new front wing, and that screws his strategy because he's got medium tyres on that car. So through will come Alan Kay, who's going through turn 3 currently, and then Charlie, and Lambo is still, I do believe, still not in the session, still ghosted. Andy, are you with us? Doesn't sound like it, unfortunately.
Not good.
Quite frustrating. And so, yeah, so back to the battle for P2. Siege still in P2, but as I said, Suarez still right on his gearbox, staying nice and close. It's all about getting that nice and close to both of these. Oh, loses the back end through the middle of the head and runs wide through the final corner there, and that will put Recon, who actually now does pit, as I predicted a little bit earlier, because of that spin, so his tyres have been quite badly worn, and he gets a 5-second stop go down for spinning in the pit lane as well, so making his life even harder. And now Leroy going down, looking down the inside. Oh, Suarez into turn 1. Oh, nice and close. Good racing, good battling. Suarez did well there to hold on to the position. Now through turn 3, so now he'll be following. Yes, a dirty A that you cannot hold the throttle through being that close to the car in front. That has to give Siege a nice break now. He's now pulled 1.6 seconds clear, so hopefully now he can start to concentrate on trying to close that gap to Fletcher, but I don't think it's a forlorn task because that gap is now getting on for 10 seconds. Andy, are you with us? No, unfortunately not still. Badger makes a move on Plaster through turn 4. And that was nice and clean. I think Plaster made a small mistake, let him through unfortunately for him, but he'll stay on his gearbox, stay nice and close. 10 laps on those softs now. He did start on a fresh set, I'm sure, but they will start to be crying a little bit more now. So Badger on those mediums moves through into P6, and Leroy still trying to stay on the back of Suarez, trying to stay on within that DRS. Let's have a look at Fletcher. Now he goes for another lap, so he's on to lap 12. Siege 9.7 behind, so he's still started to hold that gap. So let's have a look down where find out where Struth is. He's P8, so this is the man who did a great first lap and moved through to the lead to take the lead on those super softs. He now passes Plaster up into P7, and now he'll be straight onto the back of Badger because he's got nice fresh mediums there. Andy,
please, that was a nice move there by Struth. Hopefully you can hear me. That's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, nice move by the Salvo driver. Plaster has headed for pit lane, and all of this commotion and everything is doing Fletcher a good favour, in fact, because he can stretch this a little bit more. No problems when he puts medium tyre on later on in the race. Now 10 seconds clear of Siege, who's in second. He's managed to drop Suarez a little bit, puts him out of DRS range as well. Leroy in 4th place. He's just closing onto the back of Suarez. Had that go into turn 1 a lap ago. Looked like he had the move done and then just kind of backed out of it at the last second. Maybe felt he was a bit closer to wanted to be, so he's still behind the hometown hero, the Spanish driver at his home race. Struff now right onto the back of Badger, as you said there, Spike, on those fresh mediums, coming out of turn 9, heading down towards turn number 10, not close enough to make a move at the moment, and Fletcher showing plenty of life in those for the fastest lap of the race, 12, well that'll be 15 laps in there if you take in qualifying. That's a great lap time.
Yeah, he's got the tyres nice. He hasn't since the incident before. He's not had to push, so he's got those tyres nice and a bit fresher than usual for towards the end of the stint. So yeah, low 21s is decent pace. It's not trailblazing pace, but it's decent pace. So yeah, obviously no one else is able to live with that currently. As Siege is now pretty much 11 seconds behind. As Recon now sits the fastest lap of the race, and he does appear to have put on a set of stops. So he's committed himself to a 2-stop strategy from the moment.
Definitely. So we've seen Struff making an easy DRS on Badger, who's turn number 3. Leroy did get past DRS on Suarez into turn number 1 as well, so he's now up into 3rd place. Half driver, he's struggling a little bit at this point, possibly with his tyres. Maybe his setup means that there's way more than I'd like him to be, but it's an absolute wonder for the Williams run. Whether Australia wasn't with us last week for Shanghai, so he's getting nice of the season at the moment. He's 2-2 in terms of his own races that he's taking part in. 11 and a bit seconds clear of this man, Siege in 2nd, although Siege is on the medium tyres, as is Leroy in 3rd and Suarez in 4th. Got 7.5 seconds over Mays, who's in 5th place. Struff making his way back up after his pit stop in 6th. He did start on the Super Sauce Badger 7th. He's about to be overtaken though by Recon on those brand new soft tyres, as you say, committing himself to 2 stops. And one so Recon up to 7th place. He's going to try and chase down Struff now. Charlie will take over 8th place with Badger and Alan Kay coming through. He's going to take over 9th. That'll put Plaster possibly up in the 10th place. Badger might get out in time, and he's gone on to a set of soft tyres. That was from the medium, I do believe. So he's going to try and claim to the end of the race now. Lap 14 of 33. We're quickly approaching the halfway distance, and it's Fletcher who leads the Spanish Grand Prix by 11.5 seconds from Siege in 2nd, Leroy in 3rd, with Suarez in 4th, and Mays currently rounds out the top 5. Those 5 have still to make any pit stops in this race.
I just want to apologise to some of them, all of the audience, unfortunately, for Andy's mic issues, but he does appear to be back with us now, so that's good news. Badger, as you say, came in and pitted and put on the soft tyre from the medium, so that's a very strange strategy. I don't understand that at all, because he will not get those softs to the end of the race. I mean, in fact, he has now just spun off and hit the wall, actually, through I'm trying not to laugh, through turn 8, unfortunately, for Badger there. And spins the car around. He has no front wing, so he'll be in again for another set of tyres. And if he didn't use any mediums in quali, which I'm not sure of, then he can go on a set of mediums at this point and get to the end of the race.
Definitely. Hitch's been into pit lane, got rid of those softs, put on a set of mediums. He's rejoined in 4th place. Mays has came in after 14 laps on the softs as well. He's putting on a set of medium tyres. He's probably going to come out in around about 9th, possibly 8th, if it'll be 8th place in fact he'll come out on. So that's pretty good for him, having started 15th and last. Alan Kay in 9th, still to pit on the mediums. Plaster in 10th, he rounds out the points. Next is Dynamic 11th. We're looking at Badger coming back towards pit lane with that wing damage for a 2nd stop in 2 laps. He's in 12th, and Lambo is down as 13th. Start not. Each leads the race from Leroy and Suarez. The top 3, along with Alan Kay, are the only 4 drivers still not to pit, having started on the medium tyres. I'm expecting probably about another, 5 or 7 laps out of these guys, would you say, depending on how good they've kept them?
Yeah, I mean, once the fuel load starts to come down, you can get those softs a bit further. Obviously, they'll be fresh as well, so you could probably do a nice 15, 16 laps on those quite happily. So probably went from anything from end of lap 17, probably most likely for the medium to soft runners.
Definitely. So we're currently watching Alan Kay on those older tyres, trying to see if he can keep up with the Renault and Mays, who's just pitted and put on a fresh set of medium tyres. Very interesting to see if he can keep up with the Renault coming through this final set, which is obviously very traction heavy with all the slow corners. Those tyres will be getting towards the end of their life now. Charlie is up ahead on 11 lap old soft tyres. Now I do believe obviously he's going to be stopping a second time surely. Like who that might have been way now anyway. So he's going to be in again because there's no way he's going to get those tyres to the end of the race, nearly a full race distance. So it's another place for Mays, having started in 15th when Charlie does pit, but he could be quick towards the end of this race. Struff trying to make his way back up. He's currently 6th place at the moment, 3 seconds down on Recon up ahead, who's got ahead of him into 5th place. But those mediums need to go to the end of the race if he doesn't want to stop again, as that's Badger staying out of the way as Struff laps him. So 6th place is a lap 12 on, so just drop down a few. Leroy's those second-hand medium tyres. That promotes Suarez up into 2nd and Fletcher back up onto the podium, and I'm expecting it to be soft now, surely.
Virtual safety car.
Oh, Charlie's retired and he's off at the top of the hill, well off the track, but virtual safety car is deployed. That's perfect for Leroy because he's in pit lane, fired from the session as well. So let's see what's happening with Badger. Can we see anything? There's the Toro Rosso on the right hand side, so Badger is somewhere. Not sure where, but that has dropped Charlie and Badger out. Alan Kay into the pits. That's
I didn't see that. But Badger had already dropped the car on me, so yeah, he was struggling a little bit. So I guess perhaps he's had enough. I haven't seen a car. Have you seen one?
Apart from Charlie's Toro Rosso, I've not seen a McLaren anywhere. Virtual safety car is back in. We're back under green flag conditions, so we won't find out where it is now because it will have disappeared. But different place for the Toro Rosso. It was just there where Siege is passing at the moment on the right hand side, so well off the racing line. And the only thing I can think of is he must have hit the curb on the exit of turn 12. Messed up, so could have been very. But virtual safety has gone back with 2 more drivers in the race. Lambo currently the last driver, but he is not in control of the car. So that everybody that finishes is going to take a point from the race. And I've seen back the race.
Breaking up again, Andy, unfortunately, my friend. Quite a bit there, losing you a little bit. So Leroy, with that virtual safety car that came up wise in the pit lane, has jumped Suarez, or should I say, gapped Suarez by nearly 6 seconds. So I think when this all shakes out, Leroy will be second behind Fletcher, because Siege is only 19 seconds up the road currently from Leroy. Leroy has already taken 1.5 seconds out of him on the outlap from his first stop. So he is looking quite strong. Recon is the unknown element here, because I don't believe he's going to be able to make the end of this. I think he did actually pit again, didn't he? He started on softs and he soft again, so he's definitely got to pit again. So yeah, when this shakes out, Leroy will be second.
Yeah. Tires.
Siege pits. It may be time to throw that microphone away, my friend. It's really not very good this evening, unfortunately. So yeah, Siege, as I said, pits now from the lead onto a fresh set of softs. And I do believe, yeah, Leroy is already passing him down the straight, so he's going to be a long way behind. In fact, I do believe he's going to be behind Suarez as well. It's going to be very close. Actually, no, he will be just ahead of Suarez. So he's lost 1 position to Leroy, and the gap is nearly 5 seconds. So in fact, it is 5 seconds 4 seconds, 4 seconds, sorry, my bad. 4 seconds is the gap currently, and it's going to take Siege a lap to get those tyres up to temperature. So, yes, Leroy is through to a net second. Strew will have to pit again. Those mediums will not make the end, and Recon is on a 2-stop strategy. And Fletcher, meanwhile, is serenely heading towards, as long as he doesn't make a mistake, commentator's curse, he should take this victory home with him.
Should be obviously a very easy one if he doesn't make any mistakes, and trust me, as soon as I've got some cash, this is getting chucked, trust me.
Yeah. Need to find a certain position where it works.
Find it and stay there is extremely hard to do, but there you go, it's just a funny game.
You had it, it's gone. So wherever you were a second ago, move back.
What about that?
That's, yes, there, stay still, right
That's
there.
going to be hard because it's sitting on the you get
and then it moves a fraction and you start breaking up again.
Right, okay, that's so annoying.
Well, I apologise again to all the listeners and the guys watching the stream. Unfortunately, Andy's having a lot of issues with his technical problems with his microphone. It's a bit like being back in the ITV days of Formula 1. But yes, so Suarez has now set the fastest lap of the race on a 19.8 on those soft tyres. So he's going to be looking to try and close the gap to Siege and Leroy. Leroy is on a couple of holders. In fact, actually, I will stop myself because he is literally right on the back of Struth now. Through turn 4, coming up to turn 5. And on these soft tyres you can see just how much more grip he's got. He's able to turn in later and sharper earlier and still make the apex faster than Struth is able to do on those medium tyres. So I think as long as he keeps it clean through here and through turn 9, he'll be looking for a move into turn 10. But if he's not close enough, he doesn't need to rush it. He's got a plenty of time to get through. And just like I said before, Struth will be pitting again anyway, so he won't be making a move here. He'll be looking for the DRS down the main straight. Andy!
Please, 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 I pray to country gods, everything works. Oh, you can hear me.
Sort of. Unfortunately, is the answer to that one. Unfortunately, so we'll carry on watching Leroy now through the final chicane into the final corner, and Struth pits. So that's good for Leroy. So he gets the advantage of the DRS down the straight and does not have to make a move to turn 1. So that's going to help his lap time on this lap. Siege now comes through. And now Siege sets the fastest lap, good half a second faster than Suarez did on the last lap at 19.3. So Siege is looking to, in fact, Siege has closed that gap to Leroy quite considerably by over 1.5 seconds. So Siege is on a charge.
Siege on the move for sure. We've on straight before you jumped in, looked them a big
Unfortunately, Andy, again, we cannot hear you very well. So, again, Struth has now come out on those soft tyres. Sorry, excuse me. And he will now for the end of the race. So, he's got 13 laps to do that in. Excuse me, and with nice fresh stuff, so you could well be on the back of Maze for the end of the race. Siege and Leroy, the gap is still coming down, not quite at the rate it was before, so Leroy's got himself into a bit more of a rhythm now, but the gap is currently 2.5 seconds, and as we said before, TTG Recon is the man now we're looking at when he's going to make his second stop. I imagine he'll probably perhaps put on a set of the, well, he'll have to put a set of the super softs on because he's used both sets of softs already. That telltale sign of means Andy is trying to speak to us, but unfortunately at the moment he's still unable to join us, so I will continue looking at what's happening here. So Siege is again still closing that gap. It's 2.2 seconds, 2.3 seconds at the moment, so that's going to be the action area I think at the end of the race. Who is going to hold on to the net P2 after Recon makes his second stop? Let's go further down the list. So we are looking at Plaster here, and he's currently in P10, and he is he's a little bit low at the moment, middle of nowhere, but he's, you know, again, he's a steady driver. He's going to stay. Oh, just to say that, literally has a tank slapper and nearly drops the car into the wall. So I'm going to move away from him before he blames me for his accident. Next is Alan Kay. Again, Alan Kay is kind of racing by himself a little bit. 7.5 seconds behind this man, Nexus Dynamic, who is also 12 seconds behind Stu, and that gap is only going to increase because Mr. Stu has nice fresh softs on only a lap old. And again, so I said before, the gap between Mays and Struve was one to look at because it has already come down by 2 seconds, in fact 2.3 seconds now. So in another couple of laps, Struve will be on the back of Mays. And again, he just needs to, when he gets there, not rush the move because he's got much fresher tyres and obviously a quicker car at this point.
Now, he has down straight 10 laps to go. And still breaking up on stream, so Spike, I think you're just going to have to finish it and I'll just change the camera.
Okay, a little bit there. Got you back there, just then and then. So it's strange. Sometimes you come back, sometimes you don't. Yeah, I can hear you now.
What? That's it.
Then immediately not afterwards. That's really strange. Fletcher picks himself up a time penalty there, so he needs to keep an eye on that just to make sure that. I mean, he's got a decent gap to Leroy. I do believe. Well, I'll do what I'm going to do. I'm going to take 2 seconds out here and just look at the race director here for a few incidents, see what we're going, who's got what. So Leroy does have a 3-second time penalty. So does Recon, and so does Suarez. Stru does as well, and Plaster. And Fletcher, so they all actually have, apart from Siege, who is a man who doesn't normally get many penalties, and that gap, like I said, is now under 2 seconds, so Siege is on a charge trying to close that gap to Leroy. So actually technically at the moment already, unfortunately for Leroy, due to penalties, he will already be losing that position to Siege after that lovely little virtual safety car managed to put him up into second. The gap between Mays and Stu is now down to 1.9 seconds, so like I said, another lap or so and he will be right on his gearbox. Alan Kay still circulating nicely, 23 seconds now behind Stu, so unfortunately for him I do believe he's now going to be by himself to the end of the race, and we might have a battle brewing towards the end of the race because Nexus Dynamic has just pitted and he has also put on a nice fresh set of soft tyres, so he has 8 seconds to plaster with 9 laps to go, so we'll see what happens with that one. Siege 1.6 through turn 4 into turn 5. Let's have a look how this car's handling. Through turn 5, nice and steady. No oversteer, no understeer there, that was nice. Now into the fast chicane, left and the right. Exit here, touch the curb, yep, very nice. No oversteer either, so his car's handling nicely through here. Through turn 9. A downshift through there, so a little bit of a understeer, but apart from that, there's no oversteer there, so that's really good. Make sure just keeping that left rear tyre, which is the one that takes the most punishment around this track, especially on this game anyway. So to keeping that one in check is definitely part of the game. Nearly within that DRS now through so if he can nail this final sector, especially the chicane, he can do so much time going through here. Nice. And we can sort of hear Andy in the background there. Did he get DRS? We'll soon find out.
Recon trying to get past Mays in turn number 10, and Mays runs wide and the Salva sneaks through up the hill. So it's a move for Struve back up in the 6th place. Recon's put on the super softs. He's going to come back out in 5th place. So his target now in this last stage of the race is to hunt down this man, Suarez, currently in 4th position. I think Siege will be just too far out of the way for the Red Bull driver, and Siege is now right onto the back of the Toro Rosso. I am about as statuesque as the Statue of Liberty, except for my mouth here, because I'm praying it stays exactly as I need it to be, and you can hear me all good. But he's losing that place now, but 7th place looks safe for him at the moment, because Alan Kay 25 seconds down nearly on the Renault. Meanwhile, the Renault of Siege is flying onto the back of that Toro Rosso up ahead. Fletcher still leads by nearly 15 seconds over this battle. You just caught a glimpse of the Spaniard Suarez in the background there, but he's 5.5 seconds down, and Recon's got 12 seconds to make up on Suarez in, what's that, about 8 laps, Spike, roughly? That's he's got the tyres to do it. Does he have enough time for it, though, is going to be the question.
Yeah, and the life as well, those super stuffs, even with the lower fuel load at this point, it's going to be tough to get those, the Delta will get closer and closer, so it's going to be a tough ask, but we'll see.
Here comes Siege. Yeah, coming down the main straight with DRS to help him, but he's not close enough on this occasion. Leroy holds on to 2nd place, gets a bit of a tank slapper coming out of 2. It looked like they're just headed towards the exit of turn 3, managed to pull it back together, but that Renault is looking a bit quicker at the moment. It's only 2 laps of a difference in the tyre life between these two guys, but that Renault is looking a lot more hooked up than the Toro Rosso at this point in time, and he's getting really close under braking through turn 4 there, sorry. No, that is turn 5. I'm right. I was getting it wrong first time. Now he's going to have a great chance if he can follow through this turn 9 very closely, because you only have DRS, but obviously coming through there, you're following the car ahead. It takes the air away from your front wing, makes it hard to follow, and he's not able to do anything under braking for turn 10. So he's going to need to see if he can try one more time down towards turn number 1, which comes at you very early in the straight, and it means that it's very powerful indeed. So his best chance now just to follow through as closely as he can through the chicane. Best chance now is just to get a good exit through 16 and get on the DRS. He should be able to make his way through past the Toro Rosso. You can see Leroy's moving to the inside to try and break the slipstream as much as possible. Here comes Siege. He's motoring down the straight over 200. Leroy goes to the inside, comes back to the left hand side for the braking zone, cleanly does it though, and Siege has to wait one more lap at least before he can do anything. Recon with a 19 flat on those super softs. He's taken 3 seconds out of Suarez already, so definitely showing the speed already, but will those tyres last? As you say, the delta is going to be pretty close on them to the end of the race, Spike.
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, this is what will happen with these tyres. You'll get a massive gain, especially coming out of pits, because I imagine he's also deployed some of his ERS on that lap and used probably rich mixture as well to get a nice, decent lap in there. Obviously, a 19 flat is strong pace. Again, I've seen quicker, but it's decent. It's definitely decent. But the problem is, those super soft tyres will not last long enough for him, I don't believe, to make up that 12-second gap.
Well, we'll see how quickly he can do it and if he can do it. But meanwhile, the battle between Siege and Leroy carries on one more time through the final section of track. And Leroy's got it all wrong into the first part of the chicane. That's going to set the Renault up very nicely indeed for this run. This should be an absolute Michael Jordan-esque slam dunk for a move here with the DRS easily to the left hand side. Leroy tries to take the inside line. He's going to try and fight it back, but he's not got the pace to do so, and it's an easy move there for Siege. All set up by Leroy, making a mistake, missing the apex into the first part of the chicane, put him out of position through the second part. Siege just got a better exit, and that meant he was really close through the final corner. And finally, after a number of laps, that Renault is through second place. Fletcher front 15.5 seconds clear and looking pretty comfortable at the moment, not to put any commentator's curse on the Williams driver. He's looking good at the moment. Siege now into second, Leroy third, Suarez still in fourth, Recon in fifth. Got the gap now down to 7.2 seconds, so that Red Bull is absolutely flying along at the moment. Struff in 6th place, having made 2 pit stops and used all 3 compounds in this race, I do believe. Super Soft Mediums, yes he has. Mays in 7th, Alan Kay in 8th, Plaster 9th, and Nexus Dynamic catching up to the back of Plaster over the final point, down in 10th. Lambo is classified 11th, but not in control of that Mercedes, and you can see this battle between Nexus Dynamic and Plaster about to hot up. But who's behind them? That's the race leader coming up to lap them. They'll need to be careful in what's going on there.
Absolutely, yeah. As I mentioned earlier, Nexus came out on those nice fresh tyres, so he is already closed at, correct me if I was wrong, but I think it was 8-second gap, I do believe, over the last 3 or 4 laps. So yeah, there is a strong 6-lap difference between these sets of tyres, so definitely the advantage is with Nexus.
Definitely so. UPL Hamilton saying Fletcher dominating. Well, he is indeed at the moment, but it wasn't like that earlier on in the race. It looked like we were going to have a great battle through the race between who started on super softs, Fletcher, Lambo, and who else was it? Was it Siege? I can't remember. It was 4 of the cars anyway, all close together. And then we lost the broadcast right at the point that an incident happened that took Lambo out, which why he's running as a ghost at the moment, put Recon down the field as well, and put Fletcher into the lead and away on his own. So hasn't all been his own way during this race as Plaster tries to stay out the way of the race leader running wide. That's just allowed Nexus Dynamic a brilliant run out of the final corner. He's easily going to make this place up, you'd imagine, but Plaster's got DRS off the back of the race leader, so they head down towards turn 1 on lap 30 of 33 now. Red Bull up the inside, touch of the wheels as they go in there. Plaster runs a bit wide there, and that is Nexus Dynamic through. He is on the the fresher tyres, so that had been coming for a few laps indeed. But Fletcher on to lap 30 to 33. He's not got long to go now in this race, but that's going to be should be his second victory of the season. So if it carries on, we're not going to see a third victor in 3 races. We're going to see Fletcher repeating his Australian Grand Prix success, but Siege in second is going to make the championship battle very interesting indeed. The Renault driver should still be in the lead of the championship at the end of this one, but Fletcher will now be up to 50 points if it finishes as it is. Siege would move up on to, I think, 68 points. I dare not move to check my notebook in case the microphone goes. So the Renault driver should still leave here as the championship leader, but his gap to Fletcher will be a bit less than what it had been beforehand for sure, as Fletcher looks like he's on his way to his second victory. Hamilton is leading the championship. It is this man here on screen, Siege in the Renault, who leads the way at the moment. Fletcher has only done 1 race this season, which was Australia. He won it, so this is only his second race of the season. He missed last week in China, and it looks like he's on his way to make it 2 out of 2 at the moment. But Siege leads the championship at the moment, and he should end up still there at the end of this race. I would give you the points, but I dare not move because of my microphone issues.
Yeah, don't move, Andy. It's all good at the moment, so it's good to have you back. I'm not privy to the chat. I must admit, I don't have it in front of me. So, as you said, Fletcher hasn't had it his own way, but since the incident has happened, he has pulled the gap to 16 seconds. I mean, Siege did start 9th, so he's up 7 positions to P2, so it's a good race from Siege. And obviously Leroy as well is also up 7 positions, so he's come from 10th to 3rd. But Mays has taken the most positions. He's up 8 positions to P7, so Mays is currently taking that accolade there. And I do believe out of the top 3 runners, Siege is the only one without any penalties. So currently the gap, it says 16 seconds, but Fletcher does have 6 seconds with penalties.
Definitely. So Recon at the moment will be taking the A logo off the race award. It'll be interesting to see who takes the Week Wi-Fi Solution Driver of the Day award. That's obviously voted for by the driver. Now, if you want to know who wins that, keep an eye on the Twitter page at TTFL_F1, and it'll be posted up there at some point later on tonight or tomorrow to see who is driver of the day. But Recon taking the fastest lap at the moment, with a 1 minute 19.0 on those super softs, obviously. But Siege on the softs is only 3 tenths down on that, so still making some good lap times at the moment. And you can see the race leader Fletcher has lapped all the way up to Mays in 7th place, so he's lapped everyone else except for 7th and higher. Leroy seems to be falling off the back of Siege at the moment. You can see Nexus Dynamic now on to the back of Alan Kay, so he's dispatched one Ferrari. He's now going to try and dispatch the other one before the end of the... I did manage to sneak the championship standings without losing my microphone, which is always good. So before tonight, Siege was in the lead on 40 points from Fletcher on 25. Fletcher's obviously... Oh, big accident! Sorry, Nexus Dynamic. Huge accident there from the Red Bull into the wall out of turn 9. That's a massive, massive hit. And that is going to be nil point for the Red Bull. You see everybody avoiding him coming through that quick corner, and funnily enough, we have an accident earlier on where a car's off the track. We get a virtual safety car. We've now got one car in the middle of the road, and there's no safety car at all. So there you go. That tells you how good this game is sometimes, but hey, what can you do? That is now Fletcher on his final lap of the race, so this is going to put him on to 50 points in the championship. Siege, if he finishes there, which he should do, coming through to start his final lap, he will move on to 58 points, so the gap will be 8 points between the top 2 at the top of the standings. Renault will obviously increase their lead in the Constructors' Championship, though I'd imagine they started this tonight on 50 points, and they're going to get a double points finish from Siege and Mays, who's down in 7th place, picking up some good points, having jumped up from 15th on the grid, have not set a lap time in qualifying.
I made the prediction, and I said that Recon wouldn't catch Suarez. I think Suarez is struggling on his tyres. He's done 15 laps on those, and it just looks to me, I've been watching his car for the last lap and a half, and he's got a lot of grip issues going on. So Recon's done well to keep these super softs in check enough to actually have a go on this final lap. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as Fletcher enters the final sector. Andy, take it away.
Definitely, so keep an eye on that for us. We'll jump back in a moment, but here comes the Williams through the final couple of corners. Wasn't here last week for Shanghai, started the season off with victory, comes through the final corner, and it is another victory. It's 2 race victories off the season for Fletcher. He wins the Spanish Grand Prix here on TTFL's round 3. Alan Kay crosses the line a lap down in 8th place. Here comes Siege to take 2nd place, and I believe that's now 3 podiums in a row this season for the Renault driver. Phenomenal consistency. You can see Alan Kay, the Irishman's had enough of his Ferrari, binned it on the exit after crossing the line. Leroy crosses the line in 4th. Suarez looks like he's just going to hold on. Recon running out of lap times right at the end. Oh, big tank slapper from the Haas. Who's going to cross the line ahead? Suarez holds on there just across the line from Recon in 5th. The Dutchman probably thought he had that one done there just at the end. Struff comes through to take 6th place. Started in 3rd, jumped into the lead, but 2 stops. Not the correct strategy round here. Plasters finished in 9th, and Mays is going to be the last finisher in 7th. 9 drivers finish. Lambo not in control of his car, so no points for Mercedes. But your winner of the Spanish Grand Prix, it is Fletcher in the Williams, and that's his 2nd victory of the season. And we seem to have lost Spike.
Okay.
Oh no, I thought I'd lost you there for a second. I do apologise. But yeah, 2 victories now for Fletcher. Obviously showing he's got some good pace, and you can just imagine though what could have happened last week if he had been around to race. Siege though, I believe that's his 3rd podium of the season, and I think that's Leroy's 2nd podium in a row as well, so that's going to be really, really good for him too. So we'll run through the standings. With the microphone issues, I'm going to have to bypass interviews tonight, because as much as I want to do it, I just can't trust my equipment, I'm sorry. And I apologise for all the issues, but Fletcher wins in the Williams from Siege in 2nd, Leroy 3rd, Suarez 4th, Recon in 5th, also taking the A-Logo Fastest Lap Award, Struff in 6th, Mace 7th, Alan Kay 8th, Plaster in 9th, and your DNS for Nexus Dynamic with that huge accident on the penultimate lap. Lambo dropped out after an incident that dropped off the stream due to errors earlier on. Charlie dropped out, Badger, Maximus and Poe all dropped out as well. And out of the cars finishing the race, Alan Kay and Siege were the only drivers not to pick up a single penalty during the race. So considering some of the runoff areas here, and especially that chicane, that's pretty hard to do.
Yeah, you're just to say, Andy, your mic's been fine the last few minutes, so I'm happy to do interviews if you are.
Go on then, let's do it. If I need to, I'll just let you talk.
If you fall out, I can always take over, so it's not the end of the world.
Okay,
so,
let's go for it.
Let's try and get a couple of drivers in. Let's try and get a couple of drivers in, shall we? See what we can do.
If anyone wants to start a GoFundMe for a proper microphone, it'd be appreciated.
Absolutely, yeah. Chat, get on that, and get some money over to the man here, so we need to hear his voice more often. Silky smooth voice.
Ah, you're too kind. Right, so still quite a few in the lobby at the moment. I'm sure Alan will join us. I get the feeling Suarez might. Maybe Leroy. We'll have a look.
Let's see what we get. Well, Plaster's turns up, so yeah, invite him. Let's see what we get.
Plaster's left, so in the lobbies, Alan, Recon, Fletcher, Suarez, Struff and Leroy.
Alright. No, I don't remember how I did this last time. How I got the other people in. I don't remember how I did it.
Get who you can, even if there's only a few. We'll get a few drivers at least.
We've definitely got Alan Kay, so... Well, I say that, but yeah.
He'll come. The Irish boy always got... There you go. See, speak of the devil. You carry on with the invite, Spike, and I'll get started off. So, Alan, obviously a bit irregular with our interviews, which we very much appreciate, of course, my friend. Looked like it was a quiet race for yourself, certainly towards the second half. Give us your point of view of how your race went.
It was the race I was kind of expecting for last night. I learned from my mistakes last night. I didn't actually drop it once at all. So that was a better start anyway. Yeah, it's just early on in the race, there was a couple of good battles with Plaster, with Myers, Charlie was there on Nexus Dynamic as well. And then they'd all pitted, though he was just ahead of Plaster and a few others. and the virtual safety car came out. I think it was 3 laps from the actual pit stop onto soft, so I said, why not? Go in and try, see if we can extend it. Sure, if I didn't extend it, I could always go in the last few laps and just try and say supers and go the fastest lap or whatever. It didn't work for me. And it turned out I ended up walking. I got the tyres through to the end, so.
Definitely. So now, if
from the soft, I think I've done more laps on the near enough, either a lap more or the same amount on the softs as I did on the mediums.
it was definitely, obviously, you know, we've seen plenty of action up ahead. I think it was 9th that you finished in, was it? P9? 8th. So 8th. So you've 4 times your points from what you've picked up so far. You started tonight on 1 point, so that will give you 5 points now. Obviously, a bit of attrition ahead with some of the incidents going on. Just happy to be in the right place at the right time to pick up the pieces from some of them.
Yeah, well, that's what I knew tonight as well from last night with the formation lap, doing the slow and steady with the tribute to Charlie White and all that too. I knew it was hard to get the launch and get the drive on the early laps with the cold tires from the most of the formation laps. So I decided in quali then that I was going to stick at the back. Once I qualified, I seen I was on the back row with my eyes. I decided I just went for a run and really push it to go quicker. Just start there, and I knew by the time my tyres had got up the temperature starting on the mediums, you can go 3 laps, and thankfully, like I knew as well, the train would keep everyone together, so no one would get a proper drive away from me before I got my tyres heated up, which was turned out to be the case as well. So it was a good race all in all.
Fair enough. Just real quickly before I ask you the final question, I want to do Fletcher's saying if he can join in the interview. Spike will be trying to get through to you. He's trying to do the invites at the moment, so hang tight if you are ready. Just look out for it. We'll hopefully get you guys in as well. Recon's looking to get in too. But next up for us, Alan, is the Canadian Grand Prix Montreal. A very fast circuit, very tricky as well. Walls pretty close, even though you're going really quick. How do you fancy it? Yeah, definitely. Wall of Champions at the end. How do you fancy your chances round there?
If I can keep it from spinning it, I would expect to be a similar sort of position that again I would say between 7th and 9th. I would expect to do. It's interestingly not the Wall of Champions that catches me out of Canada. It's turn 3, the turn 3-4 chicane. That's where basically Canada. So.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I've binned it through there a few times myself over the years, so don't worry. But yeah, points will obviously be what you're looking for then next time out. But points here tonight, obviously picking up some points, that's what you need. My last quick question though is, you've obviously been practicing the no assists. I know you have been doing that. How are you finding it before we move on to anyone else?
I'm alright. I'm about on time trial single lap pace. On some tracks I'm actually about half a second quicker without the driving line and all the assists on. And some tracks I'm half a second slower after turning everything off. At the moment it's just consistent pace, so getting consistently quick laps one after the other. It's just I suppose a matter of the more driving you do without it. As I was saying to Kieran when we asked beforehand that what I had planned to do was that I was doing any practice or time trials or anything without completely no assists, and just for league or esports races I just run the driving line and corners only, just as an offline reference, but I'm still trying to use the brake and things for the no assist completely, so we hope us to turn all assists completely off on the new game.
Fair enough. Well, congratulations on a nice wee haul of points here tonight. We'll obviously see you next week for Canada, and obviously if you're joining the channel you'll be able to see Alan racing tomorrow in the Project Cars League, which I'll come on to very shortly of course. But thanks for joining us, Alan, in the commentators interviews after the race one more time. Thanks very much, my friend.
No problem. Talk to you later, lad.
Spike, who was next up? Because I know there's quite a few now in the chat. I've been too busy not looking.
I think Leroy was second.
Okay, no problem at all. So Leroy, next person up then. A podium for yourself, Leroy. You looked like you had some nice battling out there during the race, but sum up your race, because if I remember rightly, I think you weren't too far behind when everything went a bit Pete Tong, so to speak, with the leaders early doors, which took out Lambo and Poe and put Fletcher up. How was your view of everything that happened in the race? Give us your point of view.
Going into it, I didn't. This week didn't have much motivation to practice. Because I lost one of my closest friends, so I wasn't really up for practice this week. But I done Spain before, so I knew what my pace was like, and I knew I might have a chance of top 5. Didn't take a podium. Past with the leaders, I thought I might have a chance. I was meant to be going with the 2-star, but Suarez told me that it's possible to make it to the end, so I ended up finishing on 78%, I think it was, on the rear left, so it wasn't easy.
Definitely can't have been, but look, you're having a nice battle with Siege towards the end of the race. Was it just the tyre wear that caused you to drop off in those last laps after the Renault got by?
Yeah, it was. I was more thinking about, just actually making it to the end, like, a result's better than nothing.
Fair enough. Spike, any questions for the Toro Rosso driver?
No, you covered it there, mate.
Oh well, that's pretty decent of me then. It's usually Kieran that's doing that with me. When I've been doing TTL, he steals all my questions. Canada up next then, Leroy. Where do you fancy your chances for that next week?
Obviously, like Alan mentioned, it's really fast track walls are closed, so that wouldn't tiny mistake ever in Canada, and you're in the wall. So mistakes, it's a very difficult track. Don't really know, being honest. Hopefully I can be up there again.
Well, we will see you next week. Congratulations, though, on third place here tonight, despite obviously what you mentioned there that happened during the week. I hope all's well with everyone, and thank you for joining us after the race as well, one more time.
Yeah, thank you.
I think next I'm going to jump to the race winner, Spike, and we need to get Fletcher in, because normally we go through it in order, who's won, and then go from there. So I'm going to jump to Fletcher. Fletcher, another race victory. That's 2 races in TTFL this season and 2 wins for you. Obviously, you were right in the midst of what happened. I think it was around about lap 6, which we missed on stream because, well, the broadcast stopped. So what went on from your point of view? Obviously, a good battle going on with likes of yourself and Lambo, etc. But next thing we knew, we seen Recon and Lambo facing the wrong direction. What happened?
Recon tapped the back of race leader Stu and spun and took Lambo with him, I think. I was right on the inside of the corner, so I was right at the apex. I was turning my wheel a lot more, so I could give the room to Recon, who was round the outside. And yeah, from what I saw, he just made contact. I saw a bit of front wing, I think, and then I looked behind me after the left-hander, and I saw both of them gone.
So you're lucky to avoid any damage through that there, but from then on, after that point, it looked pretty plain sailing for you. Obviously, the incident meant you got a bit of a jump on everyone else. You were still putting in good lap times at the end of the first stint before you pitted as well, despite being on like 13, 14 lap old tyres. Did that incident and just making the gap just make it a little bit easier for you, or were you still pushing at 100%?
Well, I wasn't pushing at all, to be honest. I was just driving, just sort of clocking the laps up. But yeah, of course it's going to make it easier, because if you're not battling with drivers, you're not wearing your tyres out as much as you would. So just cruised at home after I saw that, to be honest, because I knew that Stu was on like really old supers that he's also done his qualifying run on, and I knew like I'd able to pass him, and in the end passed him and just sort of made the gap because I had the better tyres than the 2 of us.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, it obviously did make it easier. Canada's up next week. Will you be joining us for that? And if you are, how do you fancy your chances there at Montreal?
Yeah, I'll be there. I only missed the race last week due to an appointment. But yeah, I'll be there. I don't know, you never can really sort of gather your chances, can you? You just gotta just turn up and you just gotta race at 100% the max you can. Try and do the best lap in qualifying so it puts you in the best place for the race. But yeah, I don't really know. I just take it as it comes through.
Fair enough. And just before we let you go, Spike, you any questions for our race victor?
No, again, mate, you covered it all. Well done.
I'm getting good at this. Well, Fletcher, congratulations on your second victory in 2 races so far this season. Keeps you in second place. I think you're only 8 points behind Siege in the championship now. We'll obviously get that confirmed later on tonight or today. But congratulations on the victory, and thank you very much for joining us as well here tonight.
Thanks for the commentary, guys. See you in Montreal.
Take care. Who was next up, Spike? Then who else have we got?
Recon.
Recon, right. So, Recon, we obviously heard there from Fletcher. You were obviously bang in the middle of everything that went on. I think it was around about lap 6. Give us your point of view of what happened between you, Struth, Lambo, Fletcher. What was your point of view like?
Yeah, probably. I don't know how you saw it, guys, but on my screen, guys.
We see nothing.
Nah. Yeah. Yeah. I can send you the clip, but I couldn't do anything. I was fighting with who was it again actually? Sturrit, right, or so?
Yeah, he was the leader, yeah.
Yeah, and his super souls were dying out, and I suddenly got faster than anyone. I was in P2 after P5 or something at the start, and I was doing great, and then I had a lot more pace, and then when I around the outside turn 1, he cut me off. Well, I thought smart, wait a few more corners, then get him. Then I got a really good run through the long right-hander, came in the back, went to the left-hand side around the outside. I had all the room in the beginning, and I just went on. I was side by side. I was not even touching his rear wheel or anything, and then he just cut me off into the grass almost. So I just spun, and then I eventually collected Lambo. I couldn't do anything. I was in a spin and I couldn't do anything.
It was unfortunate that happened. You managed to avoid, with the looks of it, major damage because you stayed out for another few laps before pitting. You then went on to, I believe it was from soft tyres to another set of soft tyres, putting you onto a 2-stop strategy. Was that something you planned from the beginning, or did the incident kind of force you into another way of thinking?
Firstly, in qualifying, I did a mistake. I didn't add any medium tires. I wanted to start on the mediums and less run on the softs. But I had to do 2 runs on the softs, so that was a wrong choice. And then the race strategy told me, because I had an older soft tires, told me I needed to do 2-stop. So I was like, oh, 2-stop, but it was actually 1-stop. So, yeah. Was kind of unfortunate, but I got a bit unlucky and I thought maybe a virtual safety car comes out, and I was just past the pit entry and virtual safety car came out. I was like, ah, man, nothing helps.
Wrong timing, not good at all. You did pick up though the fastest lap of the race, obviously running those super softs at the end. I'm sure obviously you'll be looking for more luck next week at Montreal.
Yeah, I like it. I like Canada.
So we should be looking out for you next week then.
Probably.
Definitely. So, and the good thing is, after we spoke to you last week, we can actually hear you in the stream this week. So whatever you've done has worked. Brilliant. Yes. But no, you still picked up some good points for 5th place, and it's obviously unfortunate for you. You couldn't be fighting for the podium after that incident. But I hope you have some better luck next week. And unless I've stole all the questions or Spike has came up with another one.
Guess what?
I stole them. Fair enough.
You stole them. You just covered it. You covered it, so that's good.
But apart from that, then, thank you very much for joining us again, Recon, and we will see you next week in Montreal.
See you next week, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Who we got left, Spike?
Suarez,
right. Since I've been stealing them all, on you go. This one's yours.
So Suarez, your home Grand Prix, sir. How did it go for you?
Well, happy for the result, one of the best ones in this league so far. Started not in the position I wanted since I invalidated my lap with the soft. But in the end, I think it was a good strategy, and since I started with the mediums, was fifth after the first lap. So yeah, after that, I tried to stick with the people, with the leaders, but it wasn't possible because they were too fast. And still, I knew that I was technically first. You know, if you do it, because they had to do one more stop, so I tried to maintain a gap. So when they did the pit stop, I was still in front. Uh, but there was a part of the race that I didn't feel like I have pace. Lee got me, also Sig, TTG Sig got me. So they both overtook me, tried to stick with them, and after the pit stop, Lee was lucky with the BSC, so he did a massive undercut on me, and after that, my race I was just alone, you know, trying to keep maybe the pace, and in the last laps, this guy Recon almost catch me, but yeah, still finished fourth.
Yeah, I'm personally kind of glad you kept that position because I made the bold statement that Recon would not be able to catch you on those supers at the end, but he did a super job in keeping the tyres alive. So, well done yourself for keeping it behind that last lap. How intense was that?
Well, I was really suffering on the last laps. You know, I didn't because I was talking with Lee during the race. You know, and I didn't have my tires were not as worn as him. Like he did have I think it was 60 or 65, something like that, and I was like on 50, you know, 50, 45, and I was suffering a lot with the tire. So I just was seeing how he was catching me and reducing the gap. But I was confident because I knew he was on super soft for 7 laps at least. He was going to suffer, and it was like that. You know, I was saving fuel, and he wasn't really putting that pressure on me. It was almost because maybe I made some mistakes, so it wasn't as intense as maybe it could be seen in the live stream. So, and apart from that, he had a 6-second penalty compared to my penalties that was only 3 seconds. So it wasn't that intense.
Yeah, so you had the gap towards the end. Yeah, you did, like I said, I could see on the stream it seemed to be. Was it the front end you were struggling with, or the rear end you were struggling with your tyres?
I would say it was the rear end. Yeah.
Did look a bit tail happy your car towards the end of the race there, but well done for hanging on to your position, sir.
Thank you.
And moving on to Canada, how do you see yourself going there?
Canada is actually a track that I like. I think that I'm a bit off the pace of the leaders guy. You know, the guys that were today first, second, third, and fourth, and maybe fifth. I think they are a bit better than me. So I will try to get 6 or those positions, and try to not crash in the Wall of Champions.
Absolutely. Well done today, sir. And Andy, I get to ask the famous question. Have you got any questions?
No, you covered it. No, brilliant. Thank you though for joining us, Suarez, and well done on some more solid points here tonight. We'll see you next week for Montreal.
Thank you, mate. See ya.
So that wraps it up then, Spike. Another interesting race. We're getting some really good races so far this season in TTFL. Next time at Montreal, could see anything next week. We could see a wet race, we could see a fully dry race, could see safety cars, could see anything next week. It really is up in the air what could happen, and the championship is still up in the air as well at the moment. It's fantastic stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the balls are very close at Canada, as the drivers have been saying, so small mistakes are heavily punished around Canada. So it's a great track, great circuit. It's one of those circuits where you ramp up faster and faster every lap you do, because you get closer and closer to that wall. You just need to know when to not go any faster or harder, especially in that last chicane, as they say with the Wall of Champions. Just through there, if you touch that second curb too hard, then you're heading straight for that wall.
Definitely so. So that'll be next week at 8 p.m. But before that, we've obviously got more action here on TTTV, and we'd just like to say thank you very much as well. We've now broke the 200 subscriber barrier before tonight's race, so thank you very much to everybody. We head on to the next milestone. Tomorrow night, microphone issues aside, hopefully they don't play up tomorrow, I'll be back here doing Project Cars 2's Formula C League. We head off to Germany for the Hockenheim circuit for the next round. It's looking like an interesting championship battle between the Spaniard Gero and between the Norwegian Crusher Bro. It's starting to develop, two very quick drivers battling it out. Be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. Join me at 8 o'clock for that. We've got two races, a sprint and a feature. On Sunday night, you've got Nexus Jack and Cats for TTL F2. 25% races, 2 in the one night, running the same calendar as TTL F1, so it'll be Azerbaijan and the Spanish Grand Prix. And then on Tuesday and Thursday, back with TTL F1. Kieran McGinley should be in the box for that. It'll be the Monaco Grand Prix, of all places. That'll be an interesting one to watch. And then on Thursday night, it'll be Montreal as well for the Canadian Grand Prix. All start times 8 o'clock GMT UK time. I hope you can join us for that. If you are interested in the start of the new F1 season, I'll chuck my own wee cheeky plug in here. If you want to head to my channel, you'll see my name on the screen just now. It's the exact same on YouTube. I will have a race review up either on Sunday or Monday, work allowing me. If you are wanting to follow the real life stuff, I'll be putting up race reviews there. So something a little bit different. I might as well get a cheeky plug in there while I've got the chance. Why the heck not? But that is it for this evening's proceedings. We thank you very much for joining us and for putting up with the issues again with my microphone. I will get this fixed someday. I promise you it will happen. But for myself, Spike, and everyone involved with TTTV, thank you very much for joining us. Until we see you next time, take care and we'll see you soon. Ta-ra.